Welcome to the Forge for another Rusty production. This week, I've got fire bricks. Yes, I have a whole bunch of fire bricks, which means that I'm going to try and make myself a gas forge. This might be some of the last episodes before I blow myself up. But first things first, I'm gonna have to show you how I'm looking to lay this out. So the idea is it's going to be something like this. It's not a lot of room, and I'm actually thinking of just doing a single burner for the top, because if I'm going to do anything significant, I'll go and use the coke forge. But if I'm just doing knives and things like this, this really is going to be what it's going to need to be. I mean, here's an example, right? So that's a cast spring, and it's about as thick a knife as I'm going to make. I mean, that's thicker than a Bowie right there, right? So you can see that goes in nicely, as it fits in there quite well, and goes in, that far. So it's a fair bit of area for the steel, but it's also not too much area, so I don't have to keep heating things up. So I'll have a brick that can come in through the front, and I'm basically going to create a steel cage for this thing to make sure that it all holds itself together. And so hopefully in this video, I'll get that steel cage finished. I'm going to be using some angle iron that I have and clean that up a little bit and then cut it and weld it to shape. Now, the only other thing too is I was going to have it come out a little bit further, just like one extra half brick. And this is about me being a novice blacksmith, and so I need to show you where the mistakes come in. But I'm going to cut this brick in half. And I'm going to put half there, and we'll probably put one on top. So it's going to be like that sort of depth. And ideally, I'll put the gas burner through just the center brick. So looking online, looking on YouTube as I do, I saw a guy using a saw to cut through the brick. And I thought, that's weird. I didn't think that you could do that. And you can't. You can try. But this is an old cheap saw that I had that I went to intend to do it. And you can see, hopefully you can see there, you see the those nice sharp teeth there? That's what's left of the nice sharp teeth when I tried using it on the masonry. So I've gone and got myself a masonry grinder blade. And I'm going to cut halfway through this side, halfway through that side, and then just split the brick in half. And then I'll use that as my two half pieces, and then I'll stack it on top of there. So I'll do that first. I just need to show you that. So I'll do that first, and then we'll look at the steel cage that's going to go around these bricks. Alright, so to rearrange this a little bit, we've got 4 on the bottom, we've got 2, let's see, we want that much space on the end, so we just shut it, put that there, which is actually going to give us some depth. And so that will actually be open at the back. And then we'll have, actually I want to put that one in there. That's the best spot for it. I actually don't know if we need more than that space. You're never going to work more than that amount of knife at once, so it's an interesting one. I could extend it out to there, and that would mean, let's play with it. yeah, that's really 2 burners length. I don't really need it, so technically I don't need these. So let's have a look. So 2 on top, 1 in the back, and what I might do is I'm going to cage all this in the steel anyway. So, and then I've got this in the front. I think that's all I need. So in actual fact, instead of actually coming out to the full length, I'll probably cut a hole right in the center here for the actual, for the burner to go through. Do I want the extra space? Do I need the extra space? I don't think I do. So, yeah, I'm going to get rid of these for the moment. I'm sure they're going to come in handy, even if they're just going to be to get in front of the door later on, as like a much easier way of moving things in and out. If I do one there, we have the brick that can come in from the back, and that'll close off the back. We've got the brick that can come in from the front, that'll close off the front to make it. We can move it out to there. In fact, that's going to be better. Move this off. This brick goes in the front, and then we can slide that out. Slide it to the side. Yeah, I think that'll work best. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a steel base. The steel base is going to come in off the back of some angle that I'm going to cut and use for this base here. Now the good thing about that is if I actually do want to later on change the amount of burners here, that base is still going to be really useful, because ideally if I was to do a 2 burner one, I'd go one there. And then I'll just need an extra handful of bricks. I can recreate the piece for the top, but I might lay out just on a piece of paper so you can see what I'm going to be trying to attempt. So let me try and give you a sense of what I'm trying to do here. So we've got a brick there, which creates our front face. There's a second brick on the other side. On top of that, we've got 2 bricks. So one goes there, which comes to halfway, like that. So we've got 2 bricks on the top. That's really out of scale, but something like that, right? So that's the inside of that brick. Then underneath we've got 4 bricks, and they come out a little bit on the back, because we've got like a shelf. And then it comes to about there, then about there, then that comes out a little bit further from the front. So you've got these 3 bricks, and then we've also got another one that comes out further, which will really be a shelf. If we can imagine, like there's a lot of the material will be able to sit up on there. We may even create an extension piece off the bottom of what I'm about to create as the shell. So that's kind of where all the bricks are. There's going to be a brick down the back, which can slide in and out, little brick at the front. And what I want to do is create a casing for it so that the bricks aren't moving all the time. But ideally, it's something that can come apart. So I'm going to create a shell that goes around the outside on the base. It's almost like a cradle. And then inside that, I'll have sheet metal underneath that. Then over the top, I'll create, in essence, like a Magneto type helmet. So it'll come right down on these 2 bricks, and it'll slip inside the cradle. So I'll just put that there, come down here. It'll go over the top of the top bricks, so we won't see any of those. And ideally we're going to create the front of it like a mask as well, so it will look something like that, and it'll hold itself together by slipping in, sort of where these arrows are. It'll slip into the cradle that's holding it on both sides. So I've seen a whole bunch of different builds, double burners and single burners and all sorts, but I think that this will be a good system, and it'll be something I can pull apart and put back together, and I can move around if I need to. So I'll be able to build on it over time. So hopefully you can see what I'm trying to do there. Then we're going to have a hole that we're going to cut in the top of it. They'll have to go through the bricks as well. Our burner is going to sit in there. I've been researching the burner and trying to get that right. I'm going to try and DIY it without blowing myself up. This may be one of my last videos, hopefully not. And then the pipe and everything, everything that comes off and then goes to the gas. So it's a Venturi type thing that I'm going to do here, but I haven't 100% decided how I'm going to get the airflow in. So I'm really interested in your feedback on that, because I've seen the ones that like Alex Steele does and then Daniel Moss has done, where the top here is really like a commercial part, and then you can add what you want in to like have a disc sort of that goes across here, go up and down by just spinning it, and that reduces the amount of airflow in and out. Then I've seen ones where they use sort of a T across here. And these are all just like sort of plumbing pieces that you can get galvanized, and you de-galvanize them and what have you, weld them all together. And then they'll have like a trapdoor type circular piece that they'll be able to rotate on and off, and that allows some gas, some airflow through. Or if I didn't want to do any of those, there's a third option I saw, which seemed actually really cool, which is like a sleeve over the top of this, and there's little holes. So imagine if this had little holes in it, and the gas sort of ignites over here, and the sleeve slides up and down depending on how much of these holes we want to show. So there's a whole bunch of different ways to do that, and obviously I'm going to be doing it in an episode coming up soon. But first, what I'm going to do is just create this case for the forge. So today is going to be a fair bit of welding. So for the outside, ideally what I'm going to be using is this sort of sheet metal. I've got probably just enough to do the casing, and that's like 3mm, and not great if I was going to get everything to forge heating without the bricks, but hopefully the bricks are going to actually keep the heat in rather than the heat out. Now, obviously, you know, I'm a novice. I've done some research, but a lot of this is experimentation, so we will see how we go. And look, if the whole thing falls apart, then that's not a problem. If I blow up, that's a problem. So I've got a couple of sheets of this. It's a little bit rusty, and so I have to clean it up before I weld it. And I've also got a heavier plate that's got, it's like a checker plate type material. I'm going to use that for the base, just to give us a nice foundation, which we can build off. So on these shorter sides, I actually do the width plus the 3mm on either side of the steel to actually slip in. So I'm just going to cut the corner out of these. I think these short ones, and then I'll weld that all together so it sits flush here rather than actually sitting up on it, and then we'll basically have the base of our cake. Alright, I've got all the pieces cleaned up. These are going to go on here. This piece is going to go on the inside like so. And basically I'm going to weld them all together. I've got a little bit of scrap here that's the material that's going to be the sort of the helmet. And I'm going to slip that in underneath just so that we give enough gap on the outside when we're squaring it up. So let me put all those pieces in, and then we're going to get welding. It has been a seriously long time since I've done any welding, so wish me luck. Yep, it's in that side. Alright, they're in there, but they look pretty tight, so I'm gonna... Let's see if I can leave the bricks in there. Well, the frame's done. It's absolutely horrible, but it's done. I haven't welded anything for like a year, and even given that the first time I touched a welder was 2 years ago. So I'm happy that I've even got the result that I had, but you can see there's a bit of fresh air there. But that'll be fine for this because we're gonna have a base that sits in the bottom of it. It's more than tack welded, it's welded properly. I've tried to actually pull it apart and that's not gonna happen. And the bricks fit in it neatly, which is great. In fact, they fit in it very snugly, which is the point, because I don't want it actually moving around much. So this might take a couple of episodes to get done. I think it was 5 on me doing the original forge, but at the end of things, I'll like create a mashup type video that shows you all the little steps that I'll do along the way. But I'm enjoying getting back into it. We got sparks today. We got a little bit of fire. We moved some metal, and I'm enjoying the process, as frustrating as it may be. Let me know if you think I should change the channel to let's make things 10 times harder than they need to be. Even though that is the nature of things as I am learning. But all good. I'm going to be cracking on this during the week. I'll get another video to you